Live for the virtual Fuji Speedway. Welcome, race fans, one and all, back to Greenflight TV, where this afternoon we are set to kick off the final race in season number 11 of the Beer League. Welcome, one and all, back to Japan and to Greenflight TV. My name is Nolan Rempel, alongside Acinni. We bring you all of racing action here on this fantastic Wednesday afternoon for what's bound to be an exciting throw to close this one out. Fen, this championship here this afternoon is set to be a wild one. It is going to go right down to the wire, with both Henry Morse and Giovanni Romano separated by a mere single point. End of racing action here this afternoon.
It certainly is. Only a point separating these two drivers. It's going to be a tight battle here. Fuji Speedway, one of the perfect tracks. It's going to be an interesting battle with the setups, as well as how they handle the technicality, the ever getting more technical factors of this track. There we go. I can English.
It's going to be a wild one here this afternoon, alongside a very compelling driver's championship that's really between just Henry Morse and Giovanni Romano at this point in time. You also still have a relatively tight teams championship as well. The top six separated by only 40 points, with the leader currently being Hale Satin, Super Formula Bros separated by only 14 points from them. Then all the way back, Snack Attack, Zero Team 6, Formula Lights, and the Super Series Racing separated by just 5 points, 35 and 40 points back for the leaders from third through sixth, right? So some extremely tight teams championship battles that have yet to kick off as well here as this 20-minute qualifying session gets underway.
So with all those points in play, I'm going to have to imagine it's going to be a very busy racetrack tonight as we get qualifying here and people get their outlaps done as the Fuji Speedway racetrack warms up.
We'll take a look at the weather conditions here entering this final race here this afternoon. It is 84 degrees right on the racetrack. A bit of clouds in the skies, but a lot of sun still beaming down to the Fuji Speedway as well, making this ideal for racing conditions here this afternoon. No rain set to disrupt the 15-minute sprint and the 1-hour main event coming up here this afternoon, meaning we are in for a pretty wild ride here, all things considered as well. Qualifying, like you say, it's underway right now as several drivers are making their way up and around the racetrack. Let's find more with Alex Cobbett as he takes it for a lap around the Fuji Speedway.
Fuji Speedway, the longest front straightaway I think I've seen ever. It's not actually the truth there. There's plenty of other ones. But a mile-long front straightaway into a lovely hairpin for turn number one. Going to set up the lap. Creating a good exit and entry into that corner is going to be crucial. Turn number two, a lovely continuation of that turn number one. You get a little bit of a lift as you hop into Coca-Cola corner here. before you get back on the power, and then you're just playing with the throttle throughout turns 4, 5, into 6, and the second hairpin of the night as they make their way down towards the lovely and not quite as flat with the chicane into it second half of the sector.
Making his way down through turn 9 at 300R and into the Dunlop corner. We are using the full chicane here this afternoon, so it's one of the harder braking zones on the racetrack. A quick right, left, right switch back for turns 10 through 12, then up to turn number 13, and then it'll be a left-hand swing into turn number 14, and then next corner we'll see turn 15. We're into the slower section of the racetrack, easy to upset the car and spin her off. We've seen that several times when drivers are racing in the past. Into Panasonic corner at turn 16. A bit of a twitch on the throttle coming off the corner, and then down the front straightaway. One of the longest straightaways in all of motorsports right here, and it is the longest straightaway that we have had all season long, including that of the Monza circuit, which was broken up, of course, by Curva Grande, and then up to 246 kilometers an hour before he jams hard to the binders. And that lap right there put Alex Coffin into number 3 on the boards.
That it did. A tight set of drivers between P1, P2, P3, P4. Chris Flam's going to upset that podium setup for pole position as well as we get into the sprint race here. But Alexander Bueller, I think, is going to dethrone all of them and take over first.
As several drivers will continue to fight their way up and around, we'll look to some of the cars that have yet to put down laps on the boards. Here is Matthew Dupuis right now working his way around the racing circuit, and he, in fact, just making his way out to the front straightaway. As Dupuis gets set to be the 27th driver looking to put down a time. He's got Austin Tucker hot on his heels, just a little ways behind, eager to kind of get up and in there as well. Dupuis puts down 134.327, but it will not. It will be that lap. He'll go up in a 15th place, whereas Austin Tucker gets a 154 in. I don't think that lap time going to be a valid one. He'll be going around one more time.
I think that was his out lap based on that 154 lap time. Or a spin, one of the two. So I think he's getting his first flyer done in. Kyle Blevins here, however, trying to improve as he comes across the line. And he does, jumping himself back up into second.
132.9484. Kyle Blevins, a good run for him. Chris Bright out of the final corner. He's got a lot of slipstream from Jason Lee just up the road. That toe off of the Panasonic corner is going to be absolutely critical here in this qualifying session to see who's going to be starting a pole position here this afternoon. To the stripe, a 133.516. Big improvement for Chris Bright. That jumps him up from 10th to 7th on the grid. Immediately they'll bump back down to 8th as Justin Hull right behind him gets a bit of a toe down the stretch as well.
That he does. Jason Lee as well, going to improve his time up into 5th. Yeah, like you said, that draft throughout the front straightaway is going to be, I think, one of the crucial things in qualifying here. Also crucial in the race, keeping these packs of cars together, especially that battle for that top spot between Henry Morse and Giovanni Romano. I think will be a rather interesting one once that draft pack gets put into play more heavily in the races.
Tom Madole on a big lap here, right up to the gearbox of his teammate Carson Cannon. Looks at the inside. It's almost a full second of improvement. 15th on the boards, jumping up from where he was in 19th. Big improvements there for Tom Madole. Blake Campbell jumping up a few spots while he goes up into the 25th place spot. And Austin Tucker gets on the boards. He is first up, gets him into 16th. Here comes Kyle Blevins, looking back for another improvement this time around. Looking to be potentially up by about half a second here. Coming to the stripe, it's a 132.669. And that is good enough for still third, less than a tenth of a second away from pole position now. In fact, the top 3 separated by less than a tenth.
Yeah, that bumps him up his order of how fast he was going. Doesn't improve his time there, but with all of them within a tenth of a second, I think it's anybody's game at this point between those drivers. If they get another good run, potentially get a little bit of slipstream to help them out with the draft on that front straightaway, either at the start or the end of the lap will also, I think, help them secure that spot as they keep closing down on these 132s.
Alex King trying to get a good toe down the front straightaway with one of the Hill Satin cars right in front of him. Pulls out at 132.963, good enough for 4th place for Alex King. Alex Crawford, purple in the first sector. He is on a flyer trying to gun it for pole position, which was right now held by Alexander Bueller.
I think he's got the run to do it if he can keep improving that time and maybe find somebody to link up with at the end of the lap, come out of Panasonic. We'll see if his second and third sectors remain either in the purple or in the green. I think either of those would help him secure that spot. Only 200 separate him and Alexander Buehler currently, who's sitting on pole at the moment.
Alex Crawford battling his way into the third sector of the racetrack, the tighter portions, in the words of Southpaw Racer, the go-kart section of the racetrack, as Crawford diamonds off the final corner, back over the crest and makes his way down the pit straight. It's a long run up, though, to that pit straightaway, right? And it's just agonizing because you know there's nothing you can do but put your foot to the floor and hope that you get there in time. A 132.7. He will not improve his lap time, and he will not go for pole position this lap.
That he will not. This time around, I think not having a draft at the end of the lap is crucial here, especially with the margins that these drivers are working with. Every opportunity and advantage you can gain, as you see Carson Catlin trying to wrap up a lap, will put themselves on the top of the order, and I think that's what Alex Crawford was missing at the end of that lap there.
Carson Catlin trying to make some more progress as well as he pulls up and over the rise, although he gets a little bit down and out of the toe as he made his way down that pit straight, so not sure if this will be an improvement. I don't think it will. Catlin to the line. No improvement. Misses out by about 15,000 per second. Gabriel Gonzalez right in front of him, though. He's going to jump a few spots as he goes up into 21st.
Yeah, great improvement from Gonzalez there as he puts that car in traditional beer league fashion. We see some other cars. Ron Wolf coming across that, trying to get his time improved from where he currently sits. I think he is unable to do so.
Yeah, not able to do it there for Ron Wolf. Henry Lieberman will come across the line, but he's on an outlap, so he will not be improving his time this time around. Crawford trying again, looking for pole position this time by. Does it beat the 132.780? Yes, he does! Alex Crawford to provisional pole.
Oh, fantastic work from Alex Crawford there to get that job done, and he parks it because he thinks that's as good as he's going to get, and I can't agree more with him at the moment. Kyle Blevins, however, looking to try to pull together a response. I'm not sure he has it on this lap, but I think the opportunity is there for him.
So the battle's going to keep up the fight here as Brooks Clayton gets a 133.860, and he will improve up into the 17th place spot. Tyler Carlton, huge improvement, 134 to a 133. That jumps him all the way up into the top 10. A stellar lap from Tyler Carlton, puts himself up near the head of the field. Now, Alexander Buehler, does he have an answer for Alex Crawford? Right now, sits about a tenth of a second ahead of him, looking for it. Not able to get it, a 132.9. Not good enough. He needs to get a 132.490 or better if he wants to beat him. Austin Tucker is going to improve. He's up to 7th.
Yeah, the improvements for these drivers, I think, continues to close down the gap from those leaders. Pretty much everyone within a second, down to, I believe, about P10 right at the moment, but I think as they keep working on improving these times, we'll see individuals such as Aaron Thacker, who did not improve his time this past time by, also close down and tighten up that field at the front of the pack.
Sebastian Close, not able to improve as he just misses out on improvement on the lap time from him. Scott Fleming will he does show signs of improvement. Goes 133.397 for Fleming. That shoots him up into the 9th place spot. So good run from him. Jason Lee, he will also improve in the 6th place spot. Although he will not, he does improve in his position. He'll jump up into the 5th place spot. So good effort for him.
Yes.
Crawford just start one more flying lap as he once again takes the green.
Well, with Kyle Blevins setting his fastest lap of the session and only putting a 500ths between himself and Alex Crawford there in 2nd place, I think he's out to try to see if he can keep a little bit more speed in that car before the start of the race.
6 minutes to go here in the final qualifying session of the season, and this battle continuing to pick up as time advances closer and closer to race time, and that championship battle going to continue to pick up more and more and more. Giovanni Romano right now has not qualified. That is no surprise. What is a bit of a surprise is that Henry Morse has not opted to qualify yet. I thought Morse would definitely be out there and qualify. Romano, I'm not surprised. He never really qualifies in these races. He likes to start from the back. But again, I'm shocked to see that Henry Morse has not made his way out onto the racetrack yet.
I think it's only fair. With only a point separating between the two of them, I think while it's likely he usually does, I think it's very fitting of the two championship leaders to both not qualify and opt to start from the back and see how far they can get in their own individual racing. Really evens out that playing field for that 1 point difference between the two of them.
Still qualifying fights yet to be sorted as we enter the final quarter officially of the session. Austin Tucker is going to spin her out in the third sector, so Tucker is going to be unable to improve on his current lap time. Bit of a shame for him. I know he was hoping for more. He'll ding it off the wall and then get back rolling. Try again this next time around. He still has time if he wants to get a lap in. Now, Alex Crawford still trying to see if he can't improve while Jake Case goes up to fifth.
Jake Case getting up to fifth. Alex Crawford, I think, is on his flyer to try to see if he can improve his time. His last one was that out lap from when he put it into the pits to get more fuel. See how he does coming through the hairpin now as he gets into this back half of the lap. One of my favorite sections in an open wheeler car is going to be this area, this whole run down from the hairpin to the Panasonic corner. It is just such a nice flowing sector with or without the chicane. That looks like he is letting that car by. Going to have another warm-up lap, try to get a draft out of the final corner.
Scott Fleming battling up and over the rise, goes 133.472, not able to improve on his lap. While Austin Tucker just starting a new flying lap for himself. How about Kevin Gonzalez? Does Gonzalez find any improvements on the 134.405? No. It's a 6 for him. While Chris Bright comes to the stripe, 133.1. And that will count. He's up to 7th.
Good improvement for Chris Bright, getting himself up into the top 10 there. And the whole host of cars currently sitting in the 133s, the low 133s. And I think he'll have the option to keep working up the order. Kyle Blevins, I believe, is on the flyer at the moment.
And Kyle Blevins at the moment trying to see if he can't get a potential in towards the top echelons here still, as he has been doing a good job of holding on to that second place, but he's just not been able to manifest a pole run so far here this afternoon. Try as he may, he has gotten close, right? He's now under... He's under half a tenth of a second, just barely. So he has the potential to extract just a little bit more out of that race car. Henry Lieberman jumping up to number 7. It seems to be a real battle for 7th place that everybody keeps fighting for on the racetrack.
As that group of cars just keeps getting faster, Henry Lieberman going to set that time at a 133.06. And I think Alex King also jumped up to 4th while we were taking an eye on Blevins and his run. But he has now found himself on the inside, I believe, of turn number 2 there. Almost getting in the way of Henry Lieberman.
No! And Lieberman is sent into the tires, and he is now stranded atop the tire barrels. Tough break for Henry Lieberman on that deal. That was a bit of a violent ride that Lieberman took, unfortunately, right there.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Talk about a ride as he just got unsided by... Man, that is a tumble. Got unsided by a slowing Alex King, who just pulled onto the racetrack pretty much right in front of him and sent him skyward.
Yeah, it almost looked like he kind of turned out to make sure he ran into Alex King. I'm not 100% certain there, though.
I don't think he did. He was on a flying lap and was looking for an improvement. I think, yeah, right there, you see him, like, correct. I think he just didn't realize what Alex King or what the plan was, and he's going to dig in, careen into the tire barriers, and Cattran's doing its job, right? Kept them on the, well, within the track grounds at least.
Absolutely. Definitely, I don't think he's going to be able to drive that car off of the tire barrier that he found himself on. But
no, I don't think
keep it going the right way.
Gosh, you don't often see crashes that brutal, at least on accident in a qualifying session, kind of showing, hey, qualifying can be just as unpredictable as a race.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of unpredictable, Scott Fleming, I believe, just putting in a flyer of a lap, getting in the 132s right at the end of the session here.
And he has. So Scott Fleming will look to improve, and otherwise not a lot of drivers out on the racetrack anymore, as qualifying effectively drawing to a close here this afternoon. Last couple of cars just having some fun on the front straightaway as the seconds will gradually tick by, and well, it's time to see who's going to start where. Sprint race in action will be coming on up as the checker flag falls on qualifying. So the 15-minute sprint, it is Alex Comfort started on pole position. Kyle Blevins starts alongside him on the front row. Row number 2, it's Alexander Bueller. He runs alongside Alex King on that second row. On row 3, it's Jake Kasich. He starts alongside Jason Lee. Row 4 is going to hold Scott Fleming and Henry Lieberman. From there, row 5, it's Eric Ronenberg. He runs alongside Chris Bright. And then the top 12, closing it out, it's Austin Tucker and Chris Flams. From there, it's Tom Madole, it's Tyler Carlton, then you've got Justin Hall and Aaron Thacker, then Ben Williams and Matthew Dupuis, Ron Wolf and Brooks Clayton, Sebastian Close, Jeremy Castro, Corey Barrett, Gabriel Gonzalez, Ryan Murphy, Greg Beckman, Carson Catlin, Ryan Verhulst, Adam Joseph Mailhop, Blake Gambrell, Jordan Babcock. The 2 title contenders started 32nd and 33rd with Henry Morse and Giovanni Romano, and they closing out the 35 grid. It's Tyler Augustino and Darren Bai.
Definitely the battle to keep an eye on throughout most of the racing tonight. It's going to be a battle between Henry Morse and Giovanni Romano there at the back, and where they end up at the end of the sprint race is going to be, I think, a big tell for what we got coming in store in the future.
Well, the field currently gritting on up here this afternoon. I'm going to be daring here. Do you got a favorite to win the championship tonight? Because I got to be honest, it's a hard pick between the two.
It certainly is. With the consistency I've seen of Romano to be on the podium at the end of the night, I would have to almost lean Romano. But Henry Morse, I believe, has usually the beer difference to make up for it, so it could go either way.
Still waiting on the last couple of drivers to grid on up before racing action kicks off here this afternoon. Fuji Speedway with that hard right-hand turn at Daiichi at turn 1. I'm anticipating a big mess coming into this one here in the opening corner.
Either sprint or feature. I think we get one of the two, it'll happen for sure.
Well, the Revs are going to build, and the season finale is officially underway. One car doesn't go. Collision at the tail of the field. Right in the mid-pack. One car goes speared off to the pit wall. Outside of that, we are clean and green. Down to the turn number 1. Alex Comfort pulling away with this one here early on. Everyone else trying to fan him on out. Tyler Carlton is rear-ended from behind. He goes into the infield. Everyone else skates through turn 1. Pretty much safe and sound. And Alex Comfort leads the way into turn numbers 2 and 3.
The rest of the field still trying to get themselves sorted as they get through Coca-Cola Corner. The field pretty much all going nose to tail. Todd Madole, I think, having a spin out in the back, but he is mostly, I think, unimpeded except for the likes of Chris Bright.
Pretty much 3 wide in here as one car locks up going into that corner. It's been a bit of a hectic one to kick things off, but overall, drivers doing a good job on just trying to keep it out of each other now into the busy chicane, right? The most intense, probably some of the couple most intense series of corners you'll get here on the whole afternoon. And still, drivers are doing a good job of keeping it at each other. Everybody's being quite respectful here in the early goings of this one.
It is the season finale. I think we'll see the feature. The elbows might be out a little bit more. They want to make sure they at least get to the checkered flag here with maybe some points or at least a good starting position. So I can't imagine we'll see this kindness at the end of the hour-long feature.
Headed down the front straightaway, Alex Coffin already with a near 1 second lead. He is going to lead the way at the end of lap number 1. Kyle Blevins trying to close in with the slipstream, but not able to close in nearly enough. And there you see the entire field in one shot down the pit straightaway. Really put an emphasis on just how long of a straightaway this is. You can fit everyone single file down here. And, well, lots of drivers going for big dive bombs coming down to the oh, hold on. We got one car that just got hopped up on top of another coming down into the opening corners.
I believe that was Ryan Murphy alongside, I think, Greg. Excuse me, Greg.
No, you were correct. It was Ryan Murphy who got hopped up on top of, I think it was Greg Beckman potentially in that one as both drivers go off the road. And
that's Corey Barrett's smoke trail, I believe.
It sure was, as Barrett's gone off the road, but gets back onto the racetrack quickly. And now we got Matthew Dupuis who spun sideways.
Oh, my gosh.
Boy,
he lost that entirely on his own.
And time just keeps on falling for a good chunk of this field here. This was Ryan Murphy's incident coming down the pit straightaway into turn number 1 as he had a bit of a run going here. And then he's going to get hopped up on top of, I think it may have been Tyler Carlton. It was Carlton.
Yep.
And that sent him deep into turn number 1. And then this was Lieberman.
That it did, I think.
Or
Lieberman, or excuse me, yes, Dupuis just locks it up trying to go into the hairpin here. You'll see him almost collect Aaron Thacker in the process, but as he locks up those tires, they heat up, and then he spins out, gets hit by another driver, but everybody keeps going outside of him.
And now Kyle Blevins with the big lunge into turn number 1. He's caught out as Culver trying to get the crossover, headed down to the turn 2. No dice, though. So Culver going to drop back here. Jake Casey side by side with Alexander Bueller for the 3rd place position. As they swing through turn 2 and into the Coca-Cola corner. Now through 100R. A big run coming through a few drivers in this field. Carson Catlin's losing a bunch of spots as he drops back to 24th.
Interesting to note, Henry Morris currently 17th, Giovanni Romano currently 13th. These two drivers separated by only a little bit as Sebastian Close gets that car back on the road.
Kyle Blevins at the very front of the field, keeping Alex Coffer firmly in his rearview mirrors in the 3rd sector. But remember, that pit straight coming up is nothing to be trifled with, and Coffer's going to easily be able to run him back down with that distance. And expect another dive bomb coming down here into the opening corner.
I'd have to imagine, if not sooner, because usually that draft very impactful. Jason Lee, unfortunately, finding himself off the road.
Fastest lap of the race that time by for Kyle Blevins. Coffer does not make the look into turn number 1. Meanwhile, Alex King, Austin Tucker, and Scott Fleming all going double file as they cruise through turn numbers 1 and 2. Some smaller battle packs started to form here throughout the grid as time moves along. How about this? A bit of 3-wide action with Ryan Murphy, Ben Williams, and Sebastian Close coming down to the Daiichi. And Close going to hold on. Bit of a lock for Murphy, but he's going to get clear.
Yeah, he's going to get that car clear and get himself at least sticking with the pack.
Off the road, going to go Tyler Augustino. While Alex King, Scott Fleming, and Austin Tucker all getting set to try and fight their way out as hard as they possibly can to make an effort happen here as the 37 Scott Fleming kind of getting a little bit loose there. Coming up over the Rising Nets corner and into Panasonic. He'll make his way down the front straightaway. And will Alex Cofford look to make a run for the lead? Pulls alongside. There's the slingshot down the pit straight.
Yeah, and he's going to probably run it too wide, but I think he loses his advantage because of the way that car is set up for Kyle Blevins. So he ends up being just as quick as Kyle Blevins does, so he's going to end up tucking him behind.
You know, I think he's kind of going to play with his food a little bit here, Alex Cover, because he had about an 0.8 of a second gap at the end of lap 1, right? And then all of it out of nowhere, Kyle Blevins ran that gap back down, and Cover, he absolutely could have made the move there into turn number 1. I think he's deliberately staying behind, maybe doing a bit of studying for the main event here coming on up. Scott Fleming off the road quickly rejoins, and he's got Alex King alongside. Bit of a twitch there as King locks up, goes in deep. Scott Fleming with the over-under, a beautiful crossover as he baited him into going deep into the hairpin.
Yeah, they've been going too wide through that. Scott had a great run, and just getting that move finally executed. Alex King looking for that response because he liked being at the front of this train. But the more these guys can work together, the more they can get back into the fight with Jay Kasich and Alexander Buehler just up the road.
So Fleming, King, Tucker, Ronenberg all looking to scrap it out still as Fleming taking some pretty shallow entry lines, and that's allowing for Alex King to remain tightly packed up behind him. Tom Madole has had a potential issue at the very tail of the field. We'll look at that in just a moment. For now, Cover once again making the look down the pit straightaway for the lead of the race. But he is going to tuck it back in line, so we'll look instead to the battle for the 5th place position as Blevins again will reset the fastest lap of the race. Already over halfway through the sprint race as Alex King clears from Scott Fleming for now. This is what happened to Tom Madole.
He got overzealous in turn number 1 here.
No, he had a technical failure there because he just kind of flashed out of existence for a brief moment.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, while we're watching this battle between these two drivers for the lead, as Alex Cofford snags it up the inside.
Might try to see if he can pull a gap here into the 3rd sector, try to see what he's able to do to kind of get a run going here as Carson Catlin goes off the road deeper in the field. Although he was not within the top 12, so it ends up being a bit of a no consequence spin there as far as the point situation goes. Coffin out of the final corner, nearly hits those sausage curbs on the outside of the racetrack like Alexander Buehler just ran over. Can Kyle Blevins have that look into turn 1? The gap down to 0.4 of a second. Down to 3.
Fast that's closing.
Down to 2. Cover with a major defensive move. Under 0.1 of a second. Blevins is through. Can he hold it around the outside? Cover's fighting this time, and Cover retains.
And you can see that difference in setup with how fast Kyle Blevins ran down Alex Cofford going through that long straight with the draft on top of that setup. I think that's one of the big reasons why Alex has been struggling to get past him again once he's slipped through.
Setup differences can be absolutely game-changing in these types of race cars. 3 wide for a moment as they approach turn 1 there. You saw Tom Badol trying to get on Gabriel Gonzalez. He's going to do so. Gonzalez trying to look for the over-under. On the exit of Daiichi, headed down to Coca-Cola. Tom Badol forces the issue, though, and Badol is going to slip right through.
They're going to hold on to that. Gonzalez not winning out there. In fact, I think he's going to try to see what he can hold on to as these whole pack of cars. Big lockup from Gonzalez there.
And off the road, going to go Jeremy Castro. So Castro is going to lose out some more ground. Approaching what will likely be 3 laps to go at the start-finish line this time by. Projected for this to be a 10-lap heat race. We are right now just at the tail end of lap number 7. Aaron Thacker has spotted off the racetrack, and that will drop him out of the top 12.
Yeah, unfortunately, just got on the power wall going over those sausage curves, and that caused that car to get loose for him. He got sent out spinning.
Scott Fleming thinking about the move. Oh, look out, locks up, goes in deep, nearly takes out Alex King. Did a good job to whoa it up, though.
Yeah, definitely was able to keep that car from becoming too much of a missile as he was trying to get that job done, and ends up sliding back behind Alex King for this lap. He's got a couple more chances to try to get back in front of him, but these guys have fallen so far behind Jake Kasich and Alexander Buehler, who are fighting just up the road.
Off the road up here as well for Gabriel Gonzalez as he tries to regain time.
Jake Kasich.
Yeah, Kasich has lost it.
Yes, he has locked it up, trying to keep up with Alexander Buehler. We'll see him just get too aggressive through this corner. Big snap of oversteer into understeer into a spin.
King. Oh, hold on, as Austin Tucker gonna get sent out wide as he ran over the entry curbs, and now he's gonna spin it on the entry curbing. That's gonna drop him back to 8th place here. Could drop him further as here comes Jake Kasich fighting his way around. Giovanni Romano looking to get some points here. He's going to extend as well.
That he is. We're gonna see whether or not Henry Morris also jumps into the top 12 invert, I think could be very crucial to that final battle for these two drivers and their overall championship hopes.
It will be crucial because remember, the top 12 invert also scores points. But if Henry Morris doesn't jump up there to invert near the front, then he's going to be having to be mired to the midfield for a while here. 3 wide through Daichi. Giovanni Romano trapped on the outside. Austin Tucker and Justin Hall on his right. Tucker going to break clear of the lot of them, and now Justin Hall trying to look for the outside line. He's taken out as Romano pushed wide, and Romano pirouetting up into the air as he goes into the outfield.
Yeah, I don't see him drop out of the top 12 here. Aaron Thacker, Ron Wolf slipping by, which puts him down in 14th. Now Henry Morris is clearly now in the clear for the top 12 when it was the other way around just a moment ago.
Romano not done fighting yet. He's going to go 3 wide again. Squeezes Aaron Thacker out with Ron Wolf. As Romano desperately trying to fight his way up into a top 12 to score some points here and minimize the damage dealt by that blow there. He gets by Aaron Thacker, and this is what happened to Giovanni Romano as he got into a big time with Justin Hall and then got pitched up and nearly went over here as the car kind of helicoptered up in the air.
Yeah, did an amazing 360 landed on its wheels. I think we'd have a very different conversation if it got flipped.
Final lap of the race, Alex Crawford making liberties of track limits. No surprise there. He was planning on taking himself out before the end of sprint racing action here this afternoon. So he's just seeing how much he can get away with the full throttle of these corners, I suppose. Kyle Blevins is going to skate through, take up the lead. And Alex is going to slow it down because he doesn't want to be the one to take Kyle from the lead of the race here.
No, I think he's trying to be responsible, find his spot to make his usual sprint exit in a way that doesn't impact the current leader of the race. There it is.
Like right here, yeah.
Yep,
Oh, he's taking a
there it
super
is.
wide line to cut across the chicane here. That's not going to work, my friend. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, well. You see, Kyle Blevins having to take evasive action there.
Kyle Blevins without a lot of competition behind him. Oh, we got a multi-car pileup coming down the backstretch there. Several different cars going around, including Carson Catlin and Brooks Clayton from the looks of it. Kyle Blevins, though, off of turn number 16. He wins the final sprint race of the season here this afternoon, and it's big news for Henry Morris and for Giovanni Romano, as it's looking like Morris is going to still finish, and this should tie them up entering the main event here in just a moment.
That it should, I believe. Yeah, because without Henry Morris, Giovanni Romano had the point split with just that 1 point going in Giovanni's favor. It's now going to go into a dead tie, and just where they finish this final race will be the deciding factor, I feel like.
Taking a look back here, this was what happened coming down to the turn number 1. One car just lost control up the road, and that just created a big mess coming into Daichi there for a few drivers.
Oh, man.
Well, the field's having their fun, as per
I'd say the usual post-race festivities. I mean, you couldn't pick a great or longer straight to go tear, turning the turn one runoff into a scrap heap than Fuji Speedway.
Unfortunately, they're doing too good of a job. All the cars keep getting despawned because they keep shoving them through the barriers. Boy, oh boy.
Is that a...
The session ended too quickly on that one. Well, the session, of course, ticks over to going to be a bit of extended warm-up session here. 10 minutes is going to be on the warm-up here for us here this afternoon, but plenty of action is still yet to come. We're back in a moment here with more Green Flag TV. Stay with us as well, let's take a look at your Heat 1 results.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV, where we are just seconds away from returning to racing action here this afternoon. Racing action has been a bit of a hotly contested field so far throughout the course of the afternoon, but there's still plenty of action still yet to come here on Green Flag TV over the next little while. We got a few seconds left here before things pan out. So, Fen, I think we can kind of break down how things are going to look for this one. So the situation going into the main event, Henry Morse is a 3-point advantage when factoring in beers and current bonuses given out. Now, if both drivers finish in the top 4, it is a straight points fight. If only one driver finishes in the top 4, then whoever's in the top 4 will get the championship based on drop weights. But if neither Henry Morse or Giovanni Romano finish in the top 4, it goes to Giovanni Romano based on the drop weeks. Gio has a tie-break advantage as well. Current bonus points to be awarded are fastest lap of the race, most laps led, and a single lap led, all of which can be given 1 point apiece. So relatively simple to kind of keep track of things throughout the course of the night, but it's going to be a good one.
I think it will be. It's such a, I think, an easy thing for us to keep track of here in the booth, as well as for people at home, with the kind of main 3 options there, and then and how the bonuses impact those options. Thankfully, it's pretty easy to keep in track of as well. I think it's going to be a fantastic fight for these 2 drivers, as well as the rest of the field as we get into this feature race.
Well, the battles are set to kick off as per the norm, so let's take a rundown of what that starting grid looks like here for the final race of season number 11. Starting on pole position, it's Ron Wolf. He starts alongside Giovanni Romano. Romano expected to start this race from pit road, however, so we might not be seeing him towards the front until a little bit later. Henry Morse will take home 3rd. He has the advantage going into the main event here this afternoon alongside Jason Lee. Then it's Austin Tucker and Jake Kasich. Row 4 holds Chris Flams and Eric Ronenberg. Row 5 with Alex King and Scott Fleming. And then row number 6 is the sprint race runner-up and winners, Alexander Bueller and Kyle Blevins. Moving back to the field, it's Henry Lieberman and Tyler Carlton, then Justin Hall and Aaron Thacker, Tyler Roxino, Tom Madole, Ryan Verhulst, Ben Williams, Chris Bright, Gabriel Gonzalez, Sebastian Close, Jordan Babcock, Ryan Murphy, Greg Beckman, Jeremy Castro, Corey Barrett, Brooks Toyton, Carson Catlin, Adam Joseph Mailhot, Matthew Dupuis, Blake Gambrill, Alex Cofford, and Darren Bai will close out the 35-car field.
A packed grid as we get ready to go racing. Henry Morse taken to the grid. Giovanni Romano probably going to do his usual, which should make for interesting racing regardless of where they finish.
I respect the commitment to wanting to always start from the back and work his way to the front, right? Even when you got a title on the line, still not willing to give up his own handicap. So I respect it, and I think Giovanni Romano, he's going to have a fight ahead of him here if he really wants to fight his way up to the point.
I think so. I think Henry Morse is not out of the woods either with the individuals, how they finished in the sprint race. Going to be a huge impact there.
Romano right now trying to see if he can come out on top and become what I believe would be a 3-time champion and the Beer League's first back-to-back champion as well. So he is really going to work to see if he's got it in him this afternoon. Again, hard-fought fight, though, ahead of him. It is not going to be an easy position here as, well, the field going to close on out. And it's time to go, go, go! Jake Casey doesn't get a good launch off the grid. He's going to fall back through the field. Everyone else fanning on out all the way down the pitch straightaway and headed down into Dodge for the first time this afternoon. 3 wide for the driver to spot. Austin Tucker gets turned to the middle of the field. He's going to collect Henry Morse. Henry Morse gets collected in turn number 1. It's disaster with a big pileup on the outside. And Morse is hemmed in. Never mind, no! Morse escaped. Morse is in second now as he takes off into turn numbers 2 and 3.
That he is. Alexander Bueller, as well as Henry Lieberman being a few of those individuals who got trapped in that pileup.
They're trying to help.
I believe
that's Corey Bear trying to help these guys out because right now Lieberman and Hall are stuck together. And they've got him freed. That actually helped them out.
All right. Yes. So they're all now free to keep going. The rest of the field seem to be pretty well organized into pairs of 2 most of the places. And starting to zipper down proper as Jake Casey trying to get around Aaron Thacker there. Oh
boy, a massive lunge coming down into the opening couple of corners.
And then a spin right behind them.
2 cars, in fact, going around, and one on top of the other. Corey Barrett gets on top of Williams, and he can't get him off. Another car is stuck, and now Williams is beached.
there comes
There was an attempt.
Ryan Murphy, I believe, attempts to do so, or at least.
Oh, no. Oh, this is tragic. He can't move. He's trying so hard. Can he? No, they're both stuck. Okay, well, Corey Barrett's free now, but Ben Williams is affected. No, they're still stuck together. Now Barrett's free.
Okay.
Barrett gets free. Jason Lee attacks Ron Wolf entering turn number 1. I cannot believe that.
There's a big lockup from Eric Ronenberg right behind him, too. Oh, my gosh, yeah. Interesting without the damage model really taking into effect and then snapping power cars back on, it really does make for interesting crashes this season.
No kidding, right? I mean, it's been a bit of a wild one, and we've had now two crashes, cars stuck together, pretty much in the same lap as there goes Ron Wolf. He's going to attack Jason Lee. Look at Henry Morris trying to go 3 wide around the outside for the lead. He's not going to get it in there. Jason Lee fights him back. Ron Wolf trying to see if he's got a lunge. He's going to go around the outside. Oh, Ron Wolf fends him off.
Finally. Yeah, Ron Wolf finally getting that job done. Jason Lee not willing to give up any room for Henry Morris or any of the other 3 cars behind him. Kyle Blevins now diving up into 5th. This is what happens with the lockup from Aaron Thacker. Spins Ben Williams, and then Corey Barrett gets just ever so slowly beached as
the rest is history from there.
From behind. Yep.
Holy cow. What a wild turn of events. Darren Bai has gone off the road. He's going to go for a little bit of a spin, but it looks like he's going to be able to more or less keep it sorted. Henry Morris looking to attack Jason Lee for the second place spot, while Ron Wolf was trying to pull out in front. And by the way, checking into the stats page, Giovanni Romano trying to become a 4-time champion. He won seasons 4 and 5. He is the defending champion of season number 11. This would be number 4 that he's trying to go for this afternoon.
Oh, man. And be the first, I guess, double back-to-back?
Yeah,
between 4 and 5, and this would be 11 and 12. Yeah, but still, four-time champion, I think, is no metric to sneeze at, especially when you only have 12 seasons in the record books up until this point.
There is Giovanni Romano already fighting his way up to 16th, trying to go around the outside of Jordan Babcock, but he's got a lot more work to do because right now Henry Morris would be champion with he being up in 3rd and Romano all the way back in 15th, so he needs to get more effort going in, but that big of a lunge this early on, nothing to shrug off. Henry Morris attacking Lee for a second in the middle of the Dunlop chicane, able to fight his way around. What a move.
He's still trying, but Jason Lee still has the outside line, but that becomes the outside line, inside line, then back to outside line as Henry Morris finally gets around him. But Jason Lee, I don't think is finished because he'll have the one going down the start-finish straight once these guys get out of Panasonic corner here in just a moment.
There it is, heading down the straight. Kyle Blevins, Eric Ronenberg, Chris Flam, Scott Fleming, Tyler Carlton, all still in drafting distance of this fight as well. Ron Wolf eking out the gap more and more. He's up now to 1.8 seconds. Jason Lee makes the move for number 2. Morris isn't going to defend. Kyle Blevins tries to go up there as well. He's going to take 3rd. Blevins trying to go 2 for 2 down the inside of Jason Lee to Daichi, and Blevins is through with a big lockup.
Oh, yeah, big lockup from Blevins, and then Henry Morris also locking up, trying not to run into Jason Lee. That's going to put them 2 wide as they get into Coca-Cola corner. Henry Morris cedes that position once again.
Good drive. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, you're okay. Good drive from all these drivers. And I'm keeping an eye on the metrics here. Henry Morris has to stay within this top 4. If he loses another spot, we get into that game of numbers and drop weeks, which I believe still swings in the favor of Giovanni.
At this point, yes, it would. It would swing back the way of Giovanni Romano at this point in time. The Code 69 window is officially open, with us being about 10 minutes into the session. By the way, welcome on board to everybody joining in from the Premier Sim Racing Outlaw Motorsports Truck Series that just wrapped up their season opener moments ago. As we are in a nail-biting season finale with Henry Morris and Giovanni Romano battling it out for a potential shot at a title. Henry Morris trying to take his first championship, while Romano is chasing number 4.
And it is, I think, going to be a nail-biter all the way down to the end for these drivers. I think we'll have to see how the fuel strategy comes into play as well.
Coming down the straight, Chris Flams gonna pull things out. Look at Scott Fleming trying to make it 3 wide, headed down to the dive sheet. Ronenberg gonna back out from the third groove, and they're gonna remain side by side. A bit of gravel and drag onto the racetrack as looking like Flams has been able to hold it. And Ronenberg pushes Fleming off the racetrack.
They get it all buttoned back up though. Ronenberg slipping in back behind Scott Fleming.
Giovanni Romano fighting his way up to 13th now as he's just gotten around Gabriel Gonzalez. Now, I'm sure Romano's hoping for is that he can get a couple of lucky code 69s here to kind of help him run down the lead a bit more when he gets into these little pockets where there's a lot of gap between himself and the next cars up in front as Ronenberg trying to go after Scott Fleming here in the third sector.
That's absolutely what I think Giovanni Romano is hoping for. Keep an eye on this battle with Henry Morris, Jason Lee, as we ride on board with Eric Ronenberg. It's going to be, I think, really interesting to see how the pit strategy plays into this battle between these two.
Henry Morris closes the back of Lee, and he's going to lift. He wants to play it safe here coming down the straightaway. Looking at a bit of fuel saving, a little bit of bump drafting as well. He thought about it at least. Well, they're not thinking about fuel saving behind him as everyone back here is just looking to battle it out.
Yeah, you see the battle between all those drivers as they are trying to get too wide into those corners.
Matthew Dupuis has had a moment somewhere on the racetrack. This is what happened to him just a few seconds ago as he's approaching the Panasonic bend. And, hopped up on the sausage curves. We were talking about that in qualifying, right? Super easy to make that mistake.
Absolutely, and unlike some of the more forgiving, GT machinery we've seen these drivers have in previous seasons, these cars, their suspensions are not designed to run over a sausage curve ever. It's not like some thing that you can just kind of lift on. They get really unsettled, lose that kind of ground effect as well as some of the aero as that car gets jostled around, and it becomes really easy to become a passenger very quickly with that.
On board at the gearbox of Ron Wolf as Kyle Blevins really trying to run him down for position. Kyle Blevins also trying to close the gap. Going to make that swing through Panasonic, and he'll be within striking distance down the pit straight. Ron Wolf pulling over to the right-hand side. Blevins going to tuck into the toe.
It's really interesting to see. I'm curious how little wing Blevins is running versus a lot of these drivers here. You see how much he gains in that draft versus most of the other drivers as he gets through a clear run on Ron Wolf well before turn number 1.
Oh, Ron Wolf trying to battle back, though, into the opening corner, and Blevins locks up, trying to keep that speed going, but Ron Wolf not able to make that move, so Wolf going to remain in second. Giovanni Romano fighting his way to the back of the top 12. He's now got Tom Adol and Tyler Agostino directly in front of him, who are going to go side by side in a Coca-Cola curve, and Agostino holds that one around the top.
That he does. Both those drivers too wide is always such a sketchy thing through Coca-Cola corner, but that brings Giovanni Romano right into that fight because much like a lot of the racing with too wide, it just slows you down a lot more than had you just gone single file, and that has brought those two right into the gun sights of Giovanni Romano.
Romano, though, he's being patient. He's biding his time. He knows it's a long race. He knows he's got time. He's not too eager to work around these guys. He is still right now one of, if not the fastest cars on the racetrack. So Romano going to tuck in line behind Tom Adol. He can afford to wait a lap or two. The odds of this race going caution-free are very, very low. Romano knows that. He doesn't want to burn up all of his equipment super early in the race and then be left with no fight late in the game.
Yeah, that's going to be, I think the goal there for both of them is going to be try to see how much they can manage both tires as well as fuel. See if they can't squeak out a one stop of some kind if possible, or, make that second stop a splash and dash at best.
Well, the battle's going to keep up here as Eric Ronenberg and Scott Fleming going too wide. They're going to quickly get that single file back out as they enter Coca-Cola corner. Again, not wanting to go side by side through such a perilous corner. That's super one line, right? So that lets Romano close in even more. Henry Morris at this point has dropped back to that fourth place spot. He is trying to see if he can't work his way up to Jason Lee and maybe make a lunge for third, but he's not going to make it here coming into Dunlop.
Keeping an eye on this, he's locked up those tires a lot in his opening stint. I think he's pushing pretty hard to try to see how much of a gap he can keep between himself and Giovanni Romano and stay in these top four before we come to the kind of the halfway point. And so it'll be interesting to see how well he manages these tires up until that point, as well as the fuel gain throughout this first half.
Taking a look at Jake Casey and Greg Beckman going 2x2 through Panasonic, not through Panasonic, sorry, through Dunlop, and now making their way up towards Nets, and still side by side, as up over the top of the hill for
Sebastian Close.
For Beckman.
Yeah, Sebastian Close trying not to run into Beckman, which causes Aaron Thacker and Sebastian Close to run too wide. It's fun seeing the snake form down the start-finish stretch from all of these cars as they're all sorting out how they want to run down this mile-long stretch from the last corner to first corner.
Aaron Thacker looking to the inside, going to dive down the inside of Greg Beckman. Oh
Close.
boy, Sebastian Close kicking the tail end out as they came down to the opening couple of corners, and again able to slowly gather it up, and Alex King going to push Scott Fleming out towards the left-hand side. Now, it's Adam Joseph Mailhot, Jeremy Castro, and Matthew Dupuis that are all having to go at it. And now the 66 gets loose and spins it off the racetrack.
Unfortunate. Hairpin is such a sketchy place for those drivers.
We have potentially had our first retiree of the race in the form of Ben Williams. Something big has happened to Ben to put him out of the race. He is on the approach through the hairpin, and he's going to loop the back end around and decide Fuji's not for me and call it quits.
Yeah, that it is a technical track that has such a fun, but it's almost like a difficulty slider that you just go through every lap as it keeps more and more difficult throughout the course of a lap. And that's super fun, but for some people, it is not the way to do it. As we see Matthew Dupuis, I think, making another spin at the hairpin.
Try running this place in torrential downpour. It's no easier.
Oh man, it is in fact way harder. But for me, it's no less fun. But I love driving in the rain, as we see Tyler Agostino, I believe also, Jeremy Castro on a slide there.
I actually tried to do that once. When rain first came out in iRacing, the first thing I did was I loaded in like a 40-car race in Formula 4s here, and I set it to the max possible amount of rain on the racetrack, the most treacherous conditions, like literal typhoon conditions.
Yeah. Yep.
I could not stay on the track for more than 2 laps at a time. It is, it's a beast of a racetrack. The layout looks so simple, but it is anything but, as Jeremy Castro fights his way around Henry Lieberman.
As Jeremy Castro trying to get a recover of some of that race that he had earlier. Yeah, the number of the camber changes so much in these corners throughout the course of a lap. So it looks super simple on paper until you realize that there's elevation changes, there's camber changes in the elevation as you're going through the corners. It goes from, a cambered corner to an off-cambered corner to a cambered corner that loses its camber at the apex, right at the end of the lap. It's so technical in such the simplest of ways that makes it so much fun and so rewarding to drive over the course of a race.
Right now, Henry Morris would still be your Season 12 champion as Kyle Blevins maintains a stranglehold on the lead of this race with a 2.3-second gap over Ron Wolf and Henry Morris. Eric Ronenberg right behind, leading up a bit of a loose battle, and Giovanni Romano at the tail of that battle. There you see about the 5th car line, the black and purple machine. Right now running all the way back in 10th. It's a good position, but it isn't enough so long as Henry Morris is running up at the front.
No, but we only have 15 minutes down. Still 3/4 of this race left to play for. 2 Code 69s possibly as well. I think we've got a lot of race left to work out for them to figure out their positioning and where they want to be for that final mad dash to the finish.
So we'll keep tabs on the battles for second, third, and fourth. It's the closest group on the racetrack between Jason Lee, Ron Wolf, and Henry Morris, and all of them trying to see who's going to be on the podium here by the end of this one. Henry Morris hops over the anti-cut curbs and going to keep them pointed in the right direction. It was wise not to try to hit them at least square on, and that allows him to tuck into the slipstream behind Ron Wolf.
He's going to have the slipstream, which means he's going to have a bit of the ability probably to make that look down into number 1. Has to go on the outside, which may be difficult. Wolf, I think, is going to tuck in behind and let him have it. Hopefully not lose too much of a gap there between himself and Jason Lee is going to be the goal there.
The fight continuing to pick up in pace as Chris Bright and Sebastian Close are trying to make a run at it, and Alex King has gone spinning off the road. So King is sent out wide.
That just... See it here. It comes to Coca-Cola corner, hits that curb on the outside, and that just unsettles the car just enough to cause him to go sliding off into the runoff outside of the 100R. But gets it going back the right direction.
Oh, man, and now Brooks Clayton, Gonzalez, and Jake Kasich all trying to fight it out with one another. This is deeper in the pack as they scramble around 3 wide now in the middle of the Dunlop chicane. Clayton fends him off around the inside. Gonzalez trying to work his way into the mix as well.
Yeah, Jake Kasich trying to find that line through, trying to get around Brooks Clayton. Brooks Clayton putting on a class in defensive driving, doing a very good job to do so, but he's going to have to do that all the way down that mile-long stretch of the start-finish straight.
Off the road as well goes Matthew Dupuis as Henry Morris has been able to pretty securely hold on to third. Ron Wolf has not been able to realistically close in much from deeper in the grid, while all these battles further back in the field continue to go down. Usually turn 1 is where a lot of these fights culminate, and they spend the rest of the lap just trying to close back into the point where they can fight all over again.
Yeah, it's such the nature of this track. You know, you have such a long straight. So the draft applies to pretty much any car that's, any pair of cars, I should say, that have the speed to make use of it. And so the rest of the lap is just trying to jockey into the position to make use of the draft the next time you go down that mile-long stretch.
Meanwhile, there's Thacker getting a bit caught up on the curves and nearly swung wide into Gabriel Gonzalez. Gonzalez, though, able to stand firm in that battle all the way back for 17th. About 1.2 seconds up the road is this fight between Jake Kasich and Brooks Clayton, as now Gonzalez has finally lost it as he is spun off towards the wall.
An unfortunate one. It looks like, I think he had a similar issue that we've seen a couple other drivers have with those sausage curbs, and the car just getting really unsettled with them. Giovanni Romano gets around Scott Fleming, it looks like.
Jason Lee, Henry Morse, Ron Wolf still embroiled in this fight, and now Henry Morse with a big slip-up is going to drop back down to the 4th place spot. Or will he? I thought he might, because he's got Blevins, he's got Wolf breathing down his neck right now.
was interesting because it almost looked like he was trying to not run into Jason Lee, and that is what caused that slip up to begin with. I have to get a little more look because Jason Lee is running a little bit slower lap times now than he was running earlier on in the stint. I think that's kind of bottling up Henry Morris as he tries to find a way around Jason Lee. Or I think maybe using it for fuel saving. I think would be probably the more accurate term there.
That's kind of what I was thinking as well, right? It kind of looks like he's not pushing as hard as he might be able to. Alex Cofford is certainly pushing, though, as he has just gone and taken over the new fastest lap of the race this time by. So Alex Cofford is on the move. So is Giovanni Romano. Romano's fought his way all the way up into 7th place now.
Yeah. I think a code 69 anytime from here to the end of the race will make for an interesting restart. It'll really show how much fuel saving these drivers have been doing, especially Romano and Morse, but the rest of the field as well. Cofford also known to do that. See where he ends up.
As Romano tries to fight this one out, Eric Ronenberg and Alex Cofford going to keep up the battles here. Cofford trying to see if he's got a possibility to make a bit of a run. Jason Lee, Henry Morris, Ron Wolf still embroiled in their three-way battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Other battle starting to close up as we near the halfway point in the final race of season number 12 here this afternoon. Jason Lee, will he be able to fight his way to stay by Henry Morris? It looks like he will, because again, Henry Morris is lifting out of the throttle, and he is not opting to go for an overtake. Wanted to save as much fuel as he can. Might be trying to see if he can push the field to the halfway mark, and if he can, that could be huge for the championship.
Certainly, I think the fuel may lead to that marker to begin with, but I think the amount of fuel he can save on top of that, I think will definitely add to it and make it a really easy one stop.
Well, the fights here, Finn, they are not showing signs of slowing down anytime soon. Let's take a look at what's going on deeper in the field. Bruce Clayton, Jake Case, Garrett Thacker, Chris Bryce. This is a fight that we've kind of touched in on a couple times throughout the course of the afternoon. Right now, scrapping for 15th place. And
this fight has...
It's been kind of ebbing and flowing, hasn't it, right? I mean, it's been spreading apart and getting closer together. And Austin Tucker has lost it up the road.
Yeah, Austin Tucker, I think he's been having a little bit of a struggle here in the feature race. I think it's a couple of those corners that he's trying to get the power down too early, and that's causing that car to just spin on him. But that battle we were talking about involving those 4 drivers, ebbs and flows, as each of those drivers kind of have a couple of their own little mistakes. Aaron Thacker really locking up the tires this time around, which has kept Chris Bright right in his rearview mirrors. I'm guessing we might see a swap here between those two down the start-finish stretch, especially when Aaron Thacker almost loses it on that exit of Panasonic corner.
Aaron Thacker, Chris Bright, still fighting for 17th, and this gap is one that continues to close. Behind them, a move being made as Lieberman gets around Greg Beckman, and looking like Alexander Bueller going to file right on through as well. Bueller trying to go 2 for 2. He's going to lose the back end, and that lets Lieberman hang on, but Bueller does at least pick off 1.
Yeah, Bueller getting 1 of the 2 done. I think we'll have to see where he ends up. Had a rough sprint race, but I think he's on the move to come back.
Morse and Lee continuing to actually use their drafter to actually pull away from these guys, while Alex Cofford is doing Ron Wolf no favors here. Cofford, in fact, going to look to make that move around Ron Wolf. Cofford drag racing it out with Wolf all the way down this long straightaway, and Cofford makes the move.
Yeah, had the right side of the road to be on in turn number 1. Just to weaponize that to his advantage. Ron Wolf just got to pick up the pieces, see what he can get from the draft, and keep on moving.
Lee and Morse will continue to help each other out here to build a bit of a gap to the cars behind them. Well, we are just 2.5 minutes away from halfway with no Code 69 in sight.
Yeah, I think that is going to be what a lot of these drivers are almost waiting for up until this point. Is going to be that Code 69 to really cement their drive to the finish. But at this point, they're starting to get a little low. I know I saw one driver come in, I believe it was Austin Tucker, to grab some fresh tires. I think his might be hurting as a result of those spins. I think the rest of this field are starting to be feeling the tire wear too, as well as those fuel numbers I think are starting to wind down.
Giovanni Romano and Eric Ronenberg will continue to go at it for 6th and 7th here, as well as Romano continues to try to fight his way up. But at this point, Romano is pretty much effectively stalled in his running. He needs a Code 69 if he wants to get up much further than this. He's a quick car, right? But he's not been able to really reel in enough of a gap up to Henry Morris to make that much of a difference at this point in time. And he is still outside of the threshold that he needs to be able to run him down for the championship. Tyler Agostino hitting pit road this time by.
That he is. Oh, a spun car right in front of Jason Lee. Henry Morris almost caused an issue. But with Tyler Agostino diving to pit lane, I think that's more of the kind of the bells of fuel in that fuel game, and how that strategy is playing out for these drivers, starting to really bear fruit as we get into the back half of this race.
Clayton and Kasich, meanwhile, right in the midst of a fight here. Chris Bright has gotten himself into the mix of this as well. He's going to push Kasich out to the right-hand side. Nearly runs Jake Kasich off the road. He's able to fight one more out here this afternoon. Eric Ronenberg looking like has had a bit of an issue here somewhere on the racetrack. We're looking at just a moment as Kasich clears Chris Bright. And there is Ronenberg. He's just dropped back behind top. Badol swings out wide. Ooh. Ronenberg gets back through, and this is why Ronenberg is this far back in the first place.
I believe it was a bit of an issue coming into the chicane here. Yeah, just beaches it on the apex of that first part of it. That got it spun around.
And then here's the big battle for about 13th on back. Brooks Clayton, Jake Cates, and Chris Bright, Henry Lieberman, all of them under a massive blanket here. Halfway home this time by 30 minutes down, 30 minutes to go. Other cars come down to the pits as Aaron Thacker tries to pull up and get clear. Brooks Clayton trying to fend him off, and Chris Bright gets through as well.
Chris Bright keeping ahead of Jake Kasich. Jake Kasich, both of them giving each other space. It's going to be interesting to see. Jake Kasich seems to have some pace in some sectors, but in other sectors seems to be struggling, so it's going to be unique to see where he's able to pick up those pieces.
So the battle going to keep up the fight here as Jason Lee, Henry Morris, and Alex Coffey will keep duking it out amongst themselves. And now more trouble as Jeremy Castro and Scott Fleming appear to have had some sort of a collision.
Yeah, they came together here.
Oh, Castro was already off the road and pulled up right in front of him.
Yeah, Scott tried to make the decision to go run wide and, miss the apex of that corner and hopefully avoid Jeremy, but that's also where Jeremy decided he'd try to go off the racing line. And that collected both of them up.
Henry Lieberman making his way to pit road. We are past halfway point now, right? So if you pit now, you should be able to go the distance here, which is critical. Drivers are not going to have to worry about fuel here this afternoon anymore. It's pretty much a straight fight. No need to do much fuel saving at this point in time, I would reckon.
Well, whatever fuel you can save shortens your time on pit road. So I would say it's still an important gamble, especially for both Giovanni Romano and Henry Morse, two drivers known for their pit strategies as well as their race pace, all of which I think is going to impact them. Big thing for Morse to keep in mind is that if he gets past Jason Lee with the pit strategy and allows Alex Cofford ahead of him, he might have somebody good to pair with, but we'll have to see how that unfolds over the next little while. Jason Lee looks like he's diving into the pit box this time, as we're hanging out with, I believe that's going to be Jake Kasich and Alexander Bueller.
And there goes Lee to pit road. That officially means Henry Morse has lost his dance partner. He'll link up with Alex Cofford, and we'll probably be hoping that he can get himself a good run going with him and keep up that pace and keep ahead of Giovanni Romano, who, by the way, Romano also has just come down pit road. But we look back at his fight with Gonzalez, Verhulst, and Close, which is still not going anywhere.
Oh my gosh, some of these battles on track I think are going to go down to the wire. Verhulst, Close, Mailhot, all of them trying to get points done and dusted.
Jeez, man, Ryan is really pushing the envelope here with this fight as he tries to pull up alongside Gabriel Gonzalez. He'll have a good run down the straight. Does he hit pit road? He does not, but Gonzalez will.
Gonzalez as well, I believe Sebastian Close behind him, both do. Justin Mailhot also stays out with Ryan Verhulst. And Giovanni Romano come out of pit lane with a 7-second pit box time. Be interesting to keep an eye on that and where Henry Morse ends up at the end of his pit lane travel.
Pit road's a busy place right now. Several drivers are making their way both in and out. Again, still, we have not had a single Code 69 to speak of here on the racetrack. As race leader Cobb is in pit road. Morse stays out one more. Cofford's in.
Cofford's in. Henry Morse going the distance to try and get that done. I would have to imagine he's seeing how far he can push that fuel gap, how much he gained by hanging out behind Jason Lee for most of that race, and how much that gives him is a margin to just kind of push with to the end. But we'll have to see as how that develops here in the next little while.
Everybody making their trips down to the pits here over the next couple of laps. Jay Kasich will stay out for one more attempt here. Some of these drivers are really pushing this fuel along. They are really hoping for a Code 69 to get them back up into the race lead.
I get the feeling that's the case, or they're just trying to minimize how much fuel they have there. And Thacker has an issue there in the corner. Ooh, that's going to be good old-fashioned.
That was Nets.
Turn number 14, Nets, yes.
Just before Nets, at least.
Yes.
So, Henry Morse right now leads the way, but he has not yet come down pit road. Giovanni Romano right now 38 seconds behind. It takes roughly 37 to 39 seconds in the box. This is going to be a close race coming out of pit road for these guys.
It is indeed. I'm excited to see what the pit box time is for Henry Morse and how that affects his pit lane travel time. He's diving into pit lane this time by. It's a fast entry there. It gets it slowed down well to the speed limit. Let's see how long he spends on the jacks as a result. Jake Kasich, the only other driver not to come in yet, Ryan Verhulst and Adam Justin Mailhot coming in the most previous lap. Let's see if Jake Kasich does a pit box as well from where he currently sits in third. Just ahead of those two.
Romano being a little bit held up here by Jason Lee, trying to get up and around him. Morse right now on the jacks. Romano on the front straightaway. And just now, Henry Morse off the jacks. He's headed to pit exit. Coming out of pit road this time by, there goes Jake Kasich around him. Here comes Alex Cofford, and there's Romano in the back. Morse has beat him out, and he still has a good number of cars between himself and Romano. That's good news for him.
That is, in fact, very good news for him. They both had similar pit lane times in general, as well as pit box times. So Henry Morse still hanging in there, having a great run there. We'll have to see if he can keep the pace up. But Cody 69 coming in at the end of lap 24.
Oh boy. Well, it's going to get a little bit dicey here now, isn't it? As we are coming up to the end of this one. Giovanni Romano pounces on Jason Lee to get around him. And critically, this is the code 69 that Romano needed, because he's got right now about 4 seconds between himself and Henry Morse. And this puts him right on the edge of the top 4. And in fact, if Kasich comes down pit road, which almost certainly will, that's going to put Romano into the top 4. And that makes it a straight points fight.
That it does, and that I think will be a fantastic thing to keep an eye on how Alex Cofford also plays into that, where he sits in between Henry Morse and Giovanni Romano as they get into this code 69. But
now
have to see how it plays out.
Critically, Henry Morse's point advantage is up to 4, by the way, because he has led a lap here this afternoon.
Yes.
But he has not led the most laps. He has only led 1. So that is going to mean that now Giovanni Romano effectively needs to finish 4 points. He needs to finish with a 4-point advantage here this afternoon. So that means that if Morse finishes second, Romano needs to win. And if he finishes third, basically if he finishes anywhere outside of the top 2, Romano needs to finish on the podium here this afternoon.
Certainly. Yeah, I'd say Romano needs to finish ahead of Henry Morse and on the podium to have a shot.
Well, waiver rounds are currently in play, so we're going to take ourselves another step back, and when we return, racing action continues in the final minutes of Season 12 of the Beer League. Stay with us as we find out who's walking away with the trophy.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Code 69 going to draw to a close here this afternoon as we are set to take off once again. Green flag back in the air. Kyle Blevins jumping away with this one as he gets set to lead the field. Down into turn number 1 here at Daiji this afternoon. Giovanni Romano trying to power through into the top 4. Make this a straight up points fight. 2 by 2 through turn number 1 this afternoon. And it's looking like Giovanni Romano not able to make that lunge just yet up into 4th.
No, Jason Lee having a great run there, but he's 6 behind. Henry Morris, who's still riding in 2nd. These 5 cars all separated by hundreds and thousands as they're getting through 100R. And I have to imagine it's going to be a stressful time for Henry Morris, who has to keep, ideally, all the cars behind him that he can, and hoping that Giovanni Romano isn't able to make up any of those spots in between himself and Henry Morris.
Well, Romano has a bit of work ahead of him because he just went a bit wide through the hairpin. Nearly got overtaken by Rob Wolf. Now, he might have some help here, though, because here comes Jason Lee trying to attack Henry Morris, now side by side with Alex Cofford, as Cofford trying to see if he can put Lee off at the top step. Alex Cofford fighting his way up and around as Jason Lee retained that 3rd place spot, and right behind them, championship contender Giovanni Romano. Round the outside goes Cofford this time by. Lee holds the inside of Panasonic. Cofford looking for the over-under. Romano's got a big draft on the both of them.
Oh man, we got a quickie 69 beginning at the end of lap 27.
And that is effectively right now then, and that is seconds before the window closed, and Romano, was he able to secure the run into 4th? It looks like he was. May have just been able to pick off Alex Cofford at the line.
I think he keeps it. Yeah, he's holding on to it. So he's back into the top 4, so it's once again back to that straight points fight.
Take a look at this one here as Romano fought his way down the front straightaway. You're going to watch that start-finish line, right? Decided to just push with Jason Lee because he recognized, hey, Code 69 is coming in here. I got a chance. And right here's the start-finish line on the right side of the tower.
Yep.
Look at how little he takes that 4th place by. And that is enough to make him a championship factor.
Yep, and we're back into the straight points fight and the numbers game we've been talking about all evening, and I think it's going to be a very interesting final 15 minutes as this Quickie 69 will probably come to a close here pretty quickly.
Would not be surprised if it did. In the meantime, coming up on Green Flight TV, we got the likes of the Average Joe Sim Racing League kicking off their 2nd season of competition. That will be at the Talladega Super Speedway this coming Thursday, alongside the Highline Diecast Collectible Speed Cup Series from the Magic Mile. They're not the only ones out here. You also got the Blaze Battles ARCA Series out at New Hampshire in Loudon on Sunday. Between them is the SRA Gen 4 Series at Dover, alongside the Velocity Online Racing IndyCar Series with the Indianapolis 500 on Saturday afternoon. For the Boys Racing League will be out in Sin City for Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and then the High Tide Racing League sees who is going to fight it out for a championship. It'll be the Final 4, the final race coming on up at Homestead Miami Speedway this coming Monday night. Meanwhile, Code 69 coming to a close. Kyle Blevins jumps on the loud pedal. 13 minutes of racing action, and this time it is official. We're seeing who's going to make it in to the championship run at the end of this one, and Morris already making the pounds for the lead.
Yeah, had a great run out of the start-finish stretch, but Jason Lee flying up the inside here. Got to try to look for the inside to take over the lead of the race as Kyle Blevins is kind of just swarmed from where he was at the start of the field.
Trying to make that launch happen here as Jason Lee gets a little bit checked up right in the middle of the pack here. Jason Lee and Kyle Blevins going at it side by side as they fight it out with this one. Henry Morris trying to go around the long way now. Morris off the racetrack. Blevins holds on for the lead of the race for the time being. Morris sweeps through into 2nd place. Cofford sweeps through into 3rd. Romano trying to go around the outside. Jason Lee for 4th. He holds this one around the top.
That he does. Henry Morris and Kyle Cofford still going too wide, as well as Jason Lee and Giovanni Romano. These 4 2x2 as they're going into the chicane here. And
And
Yes,
Romano.
covered, outbraking.
Oh no! Look out! The big pile up
crash.
behind! One car got loose, and that has stacked up everybody! At the Dunlop chicane, Scott Fleming piles in, Ronenberg piles in, another car slides it out of the back!
Matthew Dupuis, I believe.
Oh boy!
Oh. And now
That cements
at the
this
front.
being a straight points fight, because it's 3 seconds now between Romano and Lee.
Yeah, between Romano and Lee is 3 seconds, so it is just a straight points fight between Henry Morse, Giovanni Romano. If Henry Morse stays in front of Giovanni, I believe it goes the way of Henry Morse, and I believe Giovanni has to get in front of him and onto the podium for him to come away with the victory here.
Take a look at this massive hornet's nest coming down the pit straight into towards turn number 1 at Daichi. Hard on the brakes, looking for 3x3 wide as cars step it out. And finally, they're able to get it back down to triple or to double after going 3 wide all the way down the pit straight. Meanwhile, up front, it's Alex Cofford holding on to second, Morse in third. Right now, that would still be enough for Henry Morse to clinch the title. If Morse is in third, then Romano must win this race. Finishing second is not going to be enough.
Not if, but with how much Henry Morse is locking up these tires, trying to keep Giovanni Romano behind him, I think it's very possible we might see them swap spots at least once in the last 10 minutes here.
But the problem again, even if Romano gets around Henry Morse, that still isn't enough. Morse would still win it by 2 points.
Yeah, he has to get up into second. I think that's going to be a hard thing for him to do as long as he's sitting behind. Oh, meanwhile.
We got a big mess coming over to Dunlop
What
again.
the heck happened there?
Just when everybody was off the road.
Yeah. Oh, the chicane. Oh my gosh. You'll see it here. That's the
It's
aftermath.
just pandemonium.
Yeah, it is a 3 wide craziness. I think that was the first time we had that issue in the chicane. And there's another instance in the chicane with Matthew Dupuis, amongst others.
It was, yes, you are correct. This was the second instance.
Gosh. Yeah, you'll see it again here. Not at the first part, but at the second part of the chicane. Locks up from those drivers, and then it adds into this big pile up into the middle of the chicane. And these cars just keep bouncing over each other's tires.
A bunch of air being thrown up there. As here comes Kyle Blevins. Blevins right now retaining the lead. He's got Alex Coffin alongside. And the 2 championship contenders are side by side. Romano fights his way to third. Now, if Romano can secure third, that's all well and good. But he still needs to claw his way up to second if he wants to have a realistic chance.
Yeah, if he wants to secure that, he has to keep himself going the right direction and hope that Henry Morse doesn't chase him down in the process and turn that fight into a 3-way battle for the bottom 2 steps of the podium, or 3 steps, depending.
We got 2 cars upside down at Dunlop.
Oh my gosh. Adam Joseph Mel, I believe, was one of them.
Looking like Darren Bai may have been another potentially. And Joseph Mailhot and Corey Barrett, those are the 2.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We'll get to that in a moment. Right now, we got a battle on for the lead of the race as Alex Coffer closes to the back of Kyle Blevins. He's going to look to make that lunge to the outside line. Down to the Daichi. Coffer trying to go around the outside. Henry Morse is also retaking third from Giovanni Romano.
Yeah, the over-under as I think they're just going to keep swapping positions down that front start-finish stretch until the end of this race at this point. And the more that these 2 fight it out, instead of working with each other, the less they're going to be able to actually fight with the first 2. This is going to be that Corey Barrett, John Joseph Mailhot issue. Oh, that's a lockup from...
Oh boy, and then they just both got tipped upside down as one car quite literally drove right through Adam Joseph Mailhot.
It certainly did. Just kept driving like he wasn't there. Oh, big lockup from Von Wolf there.
Huge lockup, but still able to hold it together. Thacker fights off Austin Tucker. Chris Bright also trying to look for the inside as we've got less than 7 minutes to go.
Man. A whole pile of cars with Von Wolf as well as Ryan Verhulst, Austin Tucker.
Morse pulling up to the back end. And we got more cars at Dunlop hopping up on top of each other. Dupuis is one of them.
I don't think Dupuis and this chicane get along very well at this point.
No kidding. It's been a
I'm not
rough
sure what
ride
happened.
for them.
Yeah. Oh.
Just trying to go for the inside. There wasn't room.
Yeah. Nope. No room there. Or trying to get the car stopped. And now these two are stuck together again.
Meanwhile, up front, Justin Hall ran into the back of Gonzalez, and then he got hit from behind by Ryan Murphy to boot.
Jeez.
Dunlop is becoming calamity there real quickly.
Yeah. Very, very quickly.
Up front,
Romano.
Alex Cofford still pulling away. Blevins right behind, and the battle for third started to separate as well. But Romano, critically, has broken clear of Morse and is now seeking to run down Kyle Blevins.
Yeah, has it for this time. We'll have to see if Henry Morse can close that gap. He was able to do so last lap, but without lockup there in the Dunlop, it might be a little bit of a harder ask as he gets going again. As these drivers still trying to figure out themselves. The rest of the field behind them also is trying to work out where they want to be in these closing minutes.
Romano can taste that fourth championship on the edge of his tongue. The gap is closed down to 1.8 seconds. That is not nothing. He is seeking to chase down Kyle Blevins. Take a look at the fight here between these two drivers and the gap between the delta between the two at the line. 800ths gain from Romano last time by. This time 6/10. If he keeps that up, he's going to be right there with Blevins by the end of this race.
That he certainly will be, and that might be enough for him to secure that position otherwise. And if Henry Morse sticks with him, it might still be a fight, because if Henry Morse is also able to get around Blevins, then we're back to where we were just a moment ago.
Critically, Romano is pulling away from Henry Morse as well, as Jay Kasich spun around to the exit of turn 1.
Got loose on the curbing there for Kasich.
Morse has just lost the draft. He is now outside of the 1 second bracket. Look at how far he ran off the racetrack, just trying to chase.
Yeah, he's pushing really hard, and those tires are probably way too hot, and very upset with him as a result. So that's probably why we're going to see more lockups from him as he's coming through these corners. Doesn't manage. He's getting those tires back into the window, but I wonder if it's almost too little too late for him there. But as long as he stays ahead of Jason Lee, and if Giovanni Romano doesn't finish closing down this gap in the closing minutes here, only 3 minutes remain. I don't know that Giovanni Romano's going to have enough time to finish closing that gap.
I don't know. The gap's still at 1.5 seconds now. If he can keep this pace up. But he drops back more. He went too wide on a Dunlop. He's pushing hard, but he does bring the gap down to 1.4 now. As he keeps running him down, he gains another couple of tenths of a second this time by. What he's really got to do, he's got to just punch through the dirty air bubble right now that's being kicked up by Blevins' car. If he can hunt through that, he might have a shot. He's got about 2 laps to get it done. Might have 3.
Yeah, he has 2 laps. Yeah, to get 2 seconds in 2 laps for these drivers, I think might be a hard ask. But anything can happen with the last 3 minutes remaining of the season and the gap that is rapidly closing between these two drivers. I wouldn't discount it. But it's definitely going to require maximum effort from Giovanni Romano, to use a cliched phrase, over the next little bit here.
You see how he's already gained almost another half a second on that lap alone when he wasn't within real striking distance, really in all of that time just from cornering speed alone. But now, again, caught in that dirty air, the gap hovering around 1.5. It's making up quite a bit of time with what little sniffs of draft he's got down the pit straight here. Critically, this will not be the white flag lap. He still has 1 extra lap, so he's got 2 to go at the line. 2 laps to run down 1.4 seconds. We've seen it done. It is possible.
It is possible. It's going to take, I think, everything Giovanni has to make sure that happens. But if he doesn't, I still believe, go so in the way of Henry Morse otherwise.
Checking the deltas this time by at the line. He has not gained anything. He has, in fact, stagnated and dropped back a little bit. So Romano might have given it everything he's got. Right now, if he fails to fight his way up to that top spot, he will lose by just 2 points.
Heartbreaking when you're trying to go your second back-to-back championship seasons.
Kyle Blevins continuing to hang firm with that second place spot. Alex Crawford is not going to be caught by the end of this race. This race is Crawford's to lose. And Kyle Blevins is doing a pretty decent job on just holding steady as well. It'll be 1 lap to go this time by, and time is rapidly running out for Romano. The gap is closing in, though. It's down to 1.1. Now down to just 1 second, and he's broken within a second.
Kyle Blevins, I think, might have maybe underfueled this car. We'll have to see if that's the case or not. That could be huge here at the end.
Oh, it's a good run. It's a good run for Romano coming off of the final corner.
Oh, man.
But now Kyle Blevins with that low downforce setup, right? He's pulling away just on speed alone.
Away.
White flag in the air.
Rebuilds that gap. Oh, man. A whole 4/10 faster for Giovanni Romano over Kyle Blevins over the course of a lap, but a whole 4/10 gain just on that start-finish straight alone for Kyle Blevins. I think it's going to be a hard ask for Giovanni to make up at 1.3 seconds between now and the finish line.
Romano really needed that lap before that one to be a higher gain rather than losing 200. That would have been the lap, and he's just run out wide again. I think that might be an end of the fight, but for the meantime, other battles remain elsewhere on the racetrack. Alexander Bueller, Ryan Verhulst, Aaron Thacker, and more continue to have some last minute scraps here in these fights. Justin Hall and Greg Beck will look to go side by side. Potentially Matt DePuy looking to make it 3 into the final lap. He's going to do so. And Justin Hall pitched up into the air, goes for a 360 spin. He's going to gather it up. Meanwhile, Alex Crawford working his way into nets. For the final time, Crawford will work his way towards the Panasonic bend. He will have no competition from behind. Alex Crawford will be able to take final honors. He'll win the season finale of Season 12 of the Beer League. Giovanni Romano could taste that 4th championship on his tongue. He will not be able to get the job done, though, this afternoon. When it counted, he missed out. And it's going to be Henry Morse taking his first ever Beer League championship and the champion of season number 12.
Yeah, a fantastic run for Henry Morse over this season. The consistent finish is really going to put him into that spot there. So it'll be, I think, a well-deserved win there in terms of the championship standings. A well-deserved win for Alex Crawford. And Giovanni Romano will be maybe kicking himself. I'm not quite sure, but definitely heartbreaking.
I would be. You have to imagine, right? What if he started with the rest of the field? How would this race have played out differently if he didn't have to make that fight all the way through?
I think that would be so different, but I think his commitment to his principles, I think, speaks far more than his 4th championship.
Henry Morse will be able to take his first, though. He's been talking about it. He's been wanting to go after this one for a good little bit here, and a great job on Henry Morse to get the job done. Did everything right this afternoon, and to be able to come home with the win at the end of this while. Let's take a rundown of your official post-race results here this afternoon. It was, boy, this race was a rough one for others, but for most, a great way to close out the championship, as it's going to be Alex Crawford taking last-minute honors to win this one. Kyle Blevins takes home number 2. Then it's Giovanni Romano in 3rd. Henry Morse will close out the championship fight here down in 4th. Jason Lee in 5th. Then it's Augustino in 6th. Alex King, Henry Lieberman, Ron Wolf, and Tyler Carlton round out the top 10.
Todd Madole is going to be your P11 finisher. Austin Tucker in 12th. Alexander Bueller in 13th. Ryan Verhulst is in 14th. Aaron Thacker rounding out those top 15. Chris Bright, Jake Kasich, Eric Ronenberg, Brooks Clayton, and Scott Fleming are your top 20.
21st to 30th is going to be Sebastian Close with Carson Catlin, Gabriel Gonzalez, Ryan Murphy, Greg Beckman, Justin Hall, Corey Barrett, Darren Bai, and Matt Dupuis. Wrapping out the cars on the lead lap, Chris Flans finishes 1 lap down.
Jeremy Castro, Adam Joseph Melhot, and 5 laps down, 6 laps down, Jordan Babcock, Ben Williams, Blake Gambrill are your 3 drivers who did not take to the checkered flag.
And that will do it then for Race in Action here this afternoon. Let's take a rundown to give a chit-chat here to the top 4 in this one, as we also have to give big congratulations to your champion. In fact, let's start with your Season 12 champion here this afternoon. He is the driver that comes home. May have been 4th in the race, but Henry, you are going to be the one to disrupt Giovanni Zabando's attempts on going for 4. Congratulations on taking your first Beer League championship. How does it feel to take it by such a slim margin?
Oh man, that's awesome. I honestly didn't know who was going to end up coming on top based on the math there. That's really cool. This season has been a lot more challenging than for me than last season. I think I spun out of the lead like the last month in a row. So I'm pretty stoked and surprised that I was able to still come out on top. If that's what the numbers are saying, I'll believe it when I see the big spreadsheet. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm really happy for my team to get that hardware look cool on the shelf back home at the shop.
Well, the math, at least by our math, is showing it to be about a 2-point margin that you're going to be taking this one by, and that is what the estimates are showing as well from Beer League administration here as well. But you go into this one, right, you only had a 1-point gap going in. That turned into a 3-point gap when you factor in the 2 beers that you drank here this afternoon. What was going to be the game plan going in? Was it just throw it out there and see what stuck?
Yeah, I honestly this round I wanted to take it a little bit cautiously and just kind of not mess up. So just kind of like a solid 80 to 90% push the whole way. I was running a little more downforce than most cars, so I knew it wasn't really going to benefit me a whole lot to try and pass the guys that were ahead of me. So I was happy to just stay in line, save fuel, get dragged along down the straightaway, and try not to get into any fights that opened up possibilities for big crashes or spins. That was kind of my game plan throughout the race, and I was hoping that if I finished 1 spot behind Gio, that it would work out with the math, and that's what happened. So really happy about that. And yeah, I didn't want to finish more than 1 spot behind Gio. That was my math. That was essentially my strategy, was just keep it clean and stay within 1 spot of Gio.
Well, the math worked out in your favor here this afternoon. Looking forward to the season 13. We don't know yet what the car is going to be. What do you reckon the game plan is going to be for you? Do you plan on coming back to defend that title?
I absolutely do, because season 13 is going to be a riot. We have a big surprise in store for the car choice. I'm going to put a parentheses S at the end of the word car as a little bit of a sneak peek for what we have planned. But it's going to be fun. Season 13 is going to be nothing like any season before. It's going to be super fun to watch, super fun to participate in, and I'm very, very much looking forward to the next season.
Well, I wish you the best of luck when we go racing once again. Congratulations on taking home the Season 12 championship, and we'll see you going into Season 13.
All right, see you guys in a couple weeks. Thanks to my friends and family who watch every week.
Henry Morris comes home number 1 here in the championship this afternoon, 4th in the race. We'll move on to the actual number 1 from this race. It's Alex Crawford. And Fan, I'll pass it down. You can chat to our race winner this time around.
I certainly will. Alex Crawford, fantastic finish. Another one to add to the books for season number 12. What was the plan to deal with the, I think the setup difference you had between yourself and Kyle Blevins there?
Yeah, yell at him and belittle him for having a rocket ship. Like, those guys were monsters in a straight line. I felt like multiple times I checked my throttle trace to see if I was at 100%. Figured maybe I just wasn't strong enough to push the gas pedal down all the way or something. No, it was terrible. I was pissed off and like irrationally mad, even though over the course of a lap it evened out. because
Yeah.
But in the moment when you're on this straightaway and they're just blasting by you, I don't know.
Yep.
It is a powerless feeling.
Absolutely. But the rest of the lap, I think, swings back in your favor, which is, I think, what we see you on the top step with Kyle Blevins just on the second spot of the podium. Any other big things to keep in mind as you were getting through that closing stages about keeping him behind you on the start-finish stretch?
Not so much him. I knew he was the fastest other guy here, so it was going to be between me and him for the race. I felt like, as long as no one wrecked or anything. But at the same time, when those last two yellows came out, I was pretty desperate to make my moves right away because I wanted to make my move there and not at the end and possibly affect the championship based off of my moves. So
Yeah.
I was pretty aggressive early on after those restarts, and it worked out good. And then once I broke that draft, me and Belvins broke the draft from Henry and Gio, and so they were fighting, so we were able to run away, and then I was able to get away from him. So that was my main focus, honestly, is just like staying out of the championship, and then the other part was just making sure that Belvins felt bad for his setup.
With that, bringing up a close to season 12, season 13 right around the corner with some interesting hints at car choice with the asterisk of, I believe, an S at the end of car. Are you looking forward to this next season coming up?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a unique perspective to rotate between cars, and certain people feel alienated every season. They just don't jive with a car, so this will allow them to, I don't know, it's have that mentality of, oh, it's just 1 week, I can go through it, and then hopefully next week is a car I like better. But as for like pace and stuff, the same people are going to be fast. Certain people are fast in any car. You put Bueller or Geo in a car, it doesn't matter. If it's got 4 wheels and an engine, they're going to be fast. I'm sure Henry's the same way, and I'm sure it's across the board. So I really don't think it matters what we run. The same people are going to be running up front for the most part, except for Belvins. He sucks in non-downforce cars. So hopefully we get something that makes him feel bad.
Certainly. Well, we'll see what we end up with those car choices, and we'll look forward to seeing you next season, hopefully back up here on the podium and maybe on the top spot. Any other shout-outs or things that we missed?
No, appreciate you guys. Love watching the broadcast, and hope to see you guys next season.
Awesome. We'll look forward to seeing you next time you are back on the podium. So take care. Alex Crawford coming home once again, P1.
We'll bring it on down now, and we'll get a chit-chat in here to the driver that comes home number 2 here at the end of the night in the race. It's Kyle Blevins. You may have been the driver that comes home second, but Kyle, you were by far the car with the best straight line speed all day long. What kind of a wild wing angle setup were you running to get that kind of speed down the straight? Because no one could catch you.
It was actually a medium downforce setup, just had a really low rear wing angle. But it was... Jason actually had lower than me, I'm pretty sure, but he was so low, he was just so, had struggled in the corners. But yeah, I think it helped a lot. Crawford was quicker than me with his setup, but it gave me a good chance to get through in traffic and stuff.
It was a good run for you throughout the back portion of this season, and while the races didn't always materialize earlier on, right, you walk away with this one with 2 wins, a good number of podiums, and I mean, heck, that car was showing a lot of pace, especially in the back half of the season. Do you reckon the improvements here will help you going into season 13?
Yeah, I think it'll help. I usually just drive a little bit better whenever I have downforce, so I'll probably struggle a little bit if we go to a lower downforce car, but I think it definitely helps for sure, especially confidence.
Well, season 13 just around the corner. What's going to be the primary goals for you as you walk away with the top 10 of the points here this season?
I'll be happy with another top 10 next season.
Well, 1 goal met then for this season. We'll see if we can double it up next season as well. Congratulations on taking home second in the race, and we'll see you when we go racing next time out.
Thank you.
And then that will move us on down to the driver that finishes second to the points. He gave it everything, but he just didn't have enough in the tank. Fen, you stand by with Giovanni Romano.
I do indeed. P number 3 tonight, P number 2 in the championship. A hard-fought battle all the way to the end. Unfortunately, not in the cards for you, huh?
blame the mods for their filthy bonus point structure. It's all their fault. It's not fair. It's rigged. No, I'm just trolling. That was really fun. It was really cool that we got that sort of exciting on-track battle at the end there. So I'm sure that put on a pretty good show, and it was fun.
Absolutely. Put on a fantastic show. I love your commitment to starting from the pits, even with the championship standings on the line. It made for, I think, a very fantastic show, if nothing else.
Yeah, I stuck by my, or whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to change it. Just if I changed it in the last race, then it would kind of invalidate everything, right? So,
Yeah.
and honestly, the safety cars, it doesn't matter too much. Like, it basically, we got a head-to-head battle at the end anyways, right? So it was, it made it more interesting, maybe the first part of the race, but the end of the race, it was a straight-up fight, and it was fun, and it just came down to, like, literally, like, beer point, well, just bonus points, I think, really, so it was about as close as you could get. I think it was, like, 1 point. I don't know what it ended up being. I imagine they told you guys.
I think it ended up being 2 points. It was 1 point your way going into the evening as a whole. Sprint race brought it back to, I think, a solid flat neutral. And then with the beer points for Henry Morris, that put him 2 ahead. And then he also got a couple other bonus points, I believe, in there that put him 4 ahead. So when you finished points ahead of him, it still had him be +2, I think was the actual math I'm remembering in my head. But we'll let the spreadsheet make sure that I'm not just mathing wrong on my napkin over here.
I believe he led a lap as well, which is a bonus point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was one of those other 2 that I'm talking about there. But that race towards the end, I think, was such fantastic work between both of you. You guys were swapping spots, I feel like, every lap. Talking about that restart, Jason Lee, I think, threw a very fun wrench. But how did that restart happen for you?
Oh, well, you kind of have to mention Jason because he was running that basically completely trimmed out setup, and I think he got involved in a little bit of an incident in the chicane there in the last restart, and he dropped off of us. If that had not have happened, I think the entire race in the top 5 would have played out completely differently because he would have blown by all of us on the front straight again, and it would have been, and then he would become a freaking roadblock then for the rest of the track, and it would have played out very differently. So, yeah, for sure. And then from there, it kind of, so he dropped off, and then from there was basically me and Henry kind of just locked in on each other, and of course had a huge battle, which allowed Cofford and Blevins to get away, and we had a good fight. And then I was running more wing than I believe than Henry, so once I was able to break away out of sort of draft range, I had more pace and was able to gap him. So I just kind of fought him hard in the corners, and when I got in front, I got the opportunity to gap him a bit. I just pushed and managed to get the gap open, and was able to hold on to it.
Fantastic stuff. I think it a little hard. Like, I'm getting like the secondhand heartbreak for you, but season 13 is right around the corner with the rotating cars coming about. Are you excited for this next season and the car choices, I believe, that are coming your way?
Yeah. The NASCAR truck was kind of my idea, so I'm really looking forward to that. Those are gonna be fun. It's been a while since I used to really like. I used to just run like road officials in the truck and stuff all the time, way back, and like in the other NASCAR stock cars, because they're super fun. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I think it's the Pro 2, which
I believe so.
We'll see how that one works. I've done that before, and that one's very track specific. You get a good track in those, they can be very, very fun. And I don't know if we'll toy with the idea of doing like a no rules race or something, or with those and go off road. Well, that'll be interesting. And then we'll see for the last car. We'll see what ends up getting picked.
Absolutely. Well, before all that, anything else we missed or shout outs we need to mention before we get you on your way to celebrating your P2 in the championship?
Well, another great season. Thanks to the mods for putting this all on and doing a great job there. And to you guys for the broadcast. It's always awesome. And I'll reference another league or broadcasting, but I would really like to get a win or something in FTR so I can get an interview with you guys over there. That would be cool. I won't talk too much about it because it's off topic, but that's my goal. I'd really like to get a win there and get an interview. That'd be really cool. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we will let you get off to your evening. Giovanni Romano, you come on P number 3 tonight and P number 2 in the championship. And I hope you have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. And that was Giovanni Romano, our P3 finisher tonight, and all fellow FTR driver over on our Saturday league, which happens about once a month.
Well, all of that takes us to the close of racing action here this afternoon. Overall, a stellar way to close out the season, and what a fight that we had here this afternoon. When we go racing next on the Beer League, it'll be in about a couple weeks or so with NASCAR stock trucks. Get a set to take us out for more racing action here on the road courses. Last time we were in stock vehicles, it was the late model stocks, so probably an interesting one for sure. Meanwhile, it's the Speed Cup Series coming on now alongside the Average Joe Sim Racing League. That'll all be tomorrow on Thursday night. On Friday, it'll be not more racing action. Sorry, that comes up next Friday with the Zero Court Racing League getting set to make its addition to the Green Flag TV roster. VOR is out in Indianapolis once again for the Indianapolis 500. That'll be coming on up on Saturday alongside the SRA Gen 4 Series at Dover, followed by For the Boys Racing League action at Las Vegas Motor Speedway alongside the Blaze Metals ARCA Series, who will be over at New Hampshire Motor Speedway on Sunday night as well. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. Once again, thank you to the Beer League for having us on board for a 7th straight season. We're looking forward to being back for season number 13 in a couple weeks. We'll see you all there. My name's Rempel alongside Acinni, and we'll see you once again on Green Flag TV.